Welcome to Self-Powered Healing. I'm Barbara McNeely, your host and the creator of Self-Powered Healing, where we are talking about how you can unleash your innate healing ability. By the way, for this month, November, I've accepted the challenge to publish 30 podcast episodes in 30 days. It's called National Podcast Post Month, or NaPodPoMo for short. It was created by Jennifer Navarrete in 2007, and this year, 2024, is the 17th year of the challenge. Enjoy. In this episode of Self-Powered Healing, I'm going to talk about 4 factors of illness. These 4 factors are suggested in a book called What Really Makes You Ill by Dawn Lester and David Parker. What they're saying is that all of the substances and influences that affect human health, whether beneficially or otherwise, can be identified as belonging to one of 4 categories or factors. Those 4 categories are nutrition, toxic exposures, electromagnetic radiation exposures, and stress. I'm presenting this theory because I believe the 4 factors, each and every one of them, have a substantial impact on our health. Let's look at them one by one. The first one they said was nutrition. There's a quote that I've read by Anne Wigmore. The food you eat can be either the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. Clearly, what you eat is an important factor in either your health or your illness. The authors of the book suggest that our government entities don't have a good understanding of what is good nutrition and what isn't. You only have to look at the standard American diet to see the truth in that. In a recent episode of Self-Powered Healing, I talked about what I called the ideal diet. It stressed whole natural foods, essentially going back to an era before the 1950s, which is when we started trusting government officials and food manufacturers with deciding what we should eat. The second factor they mention is toxic exposures. That includes any type of toxic substances produced by plants or animals, and much more. We're bombarded by toxic exposure from many sources all the time. It's in our food supply and its packaging. It's in our cleaning supplies and our personal care products, and even in our clothing. Off-gassing from materials used to build our home, our furniture, and our appliance, also toxic substances. Toxic substances can be found in the air we breathe, especially in big cities or near industrial plants or near highways and airports. They are far too common in our world, making it difficult to totally avoid them. The third factor is electromagnetic radiation exposure. They focus on the unnatural non-ionizing radiation. Its source is alternating current electricity, which is what you get when you plug your laptop into the wall. So all electrical equipment and appliances produce the EMF fields, and exposures are increasing with the rapidly growing field of mobile phones and wireless communications. The harm that they can cause is an increased risk of oxidative stress, which induces free radical damage, leading to inflammation, also can cause cardiac issues. Stress is the 4th factor they suggest. And they're using a definition from Oxford Concise Medical Dictionary, which says stress is any factor that threatens the health of the body or has an adverse effect on its functioning, such as injury, disease, or worry. Stress is a relative response. What causes one person stress may not have an impact on another person. Of those 4 factors, how much control do we really have? We can certainly control our nutrition, opting for more healthy options most of the time. We may not be able to avoid all toxic substances, but we can control our home environment by eliminating as many toxic substances as possible and opting for safer alternatives. What about electromagnetic radiation exposure. Unless you live on a deserted island, it's nearly impossible to get away from it in our modern world. We can, however, counteract its effects by supporting our body, giving it antioxidant-rich foods such as beans, berries, and some other fruits. Stress is not something that we can avoid altogether. It's a part of life, but we can learn how to keep the damage from stress to a minimum. Thanks for listening today. If you have any comments on this episode or on the whole NaPodPoMo concept in general, you can visit this page to leave comments. selfpoweredhealing.com/November 2024. You can also find a listing and link for all November's episodes on that same page, selfpoweredhealing.com/November 2024. By the way, Self-Powered Healing is still looking for interviews with people who want to share a story of healing. Do you have a healing story? I would love to hear about it and see if maybe you could share it on our show. So if you're interested in sharing, then visit selfpoweredhealing.com/share to schedule a chat. You aren't committing at this point. You're just having a chat with me to see what your story is about. It will be confidential unless or until you decide you want to share. And if you get there and there's not a convenient time for you, send me a message because we'll always find a time. And remember this always, you are a magnificent being with powerful innate healing abilities.